It's really nice to have weekly Dragon Ball again. Today we've got episode 3 of Dragon Ball Daima. As usual, this isn't a review or anything, and this isn't just a recap of the episode, that's what watching it's for. We're here to discuss all the reveals of the episode and trying to discuss other things. In this episode, we fully enter the Demon Realm, and got a bunch more reveals too. First off, how to actually get to the Demon Realm. This isn't the first we're seeing of Warp Sama, but in this episode we kind of learn how it works. Warp Sama is this giant goldfish thing, and that's how people are able to travel to the Demon Realm. There's a couple of them scattered across the universe apparently because Shin asked which one is closest to Earth. So this is how people could travel between, and Warp Sama is going to check if you have pointy ears, I guess. It's kind of funny that Shin doesn't even seem to know where they are. Like, I'm sure he's used a different Warp Sama, but still, it's kind of funny that the Supreme Kai doesn't know this. But the rest of this is kind of making up for Shin, because in case you didn't remember from the Buu Saga, it always seemed like Shin didn't really know as much as he should as a Supreme Kai. But thankfully he does know a good amount about the Demon Realm, still not enough, but I'm glad Shin's getting more character and more use here especially. Anyway, speaking of Shin, one new thing that we got to see of him is the fact that he was able to change Goku's ears to pointy ears, which, like, it's a really small power, and yeah, we've seen magic before that could change clothes, like, even Piccolo could do that, but man, I'll take whatever I can get from the Kais at this point. We know they have creation powers and such, but this is kind of cool. I guess they could warp other people's bodies, temporarily at least. Kind of interesting, and I wonder if this has any other use, but probably just cosmetic and convenient so they can get into the Demon Realm. So, in the last episode, we heard Gloria was from some place called the Third World, and now we actually get to learn more about what that is. So the Demon Realm has 3 separate areas it looks like. The first, second, and third world, each with different levels of clearance, and with the third being the lowest. So we're already getting an idea of how the Demon Realm was structured, and the hierarchy of this place too. It's great that we're already getting a ton of things so soon because obviously we didn't know much about the Demon Realm before, at least outside of things we saw in the video games. And I'm glad this series is taking all the steps needed to fully introduce us to this, and not just saying, oh yeah, there's a Demon Realm, let's travel there. No, we're actually getting everything fully fleshed out, which is really cool. This was kind of needed. Anyways, in regards to the fact that the Demon Realm has 3 sections, we also learn a little bit more about the clearance and such. The Demon Realm worlds have a shield protecting people from traveling between worlds. Apparently a while back, people were able to travel through them freely. But now only select people could travel through. People from the first world can go anywhere in the Demon Realm, and some people in the second world can. But for the rest of the people in the second world and the entirety of the third world, they can't do anything. Except for Gloria, who said he works in the first, and for obvious shady reasons, he's not saying why he goes there and has access to it. Like, it is very obvious that Glorio's not telling us everything about him. This was kind of obvious right from the get-go. But I think what's more interesting is we're probably going to learn more about the Demon Realm's history too, because we just get introduced to the fact that, yeah, it used to not be this way. Something happened that we don't know about yet. So not only are we getting this place fully fleshed out in terms of what it's like to actually travel there and what the structure is, but we're probably going to learn more about its history too. In case it's not really clear already, to me it feels like one purpose of the series is to just be a huge lore dump for the Demon Realm, which is a really cool aspect because obviously another aspect of Daima is the fact that they're exploring. There's a reason a lot of people are comparing it to GT and such, but I think it really adds to the exploration part if we're actually learning new things and not just seeing random new planets that don't really matter in the grand scheme of things. This is really cool. It's an exploration thing, and we feel like we're there on the journey because we're actually learning more about this stuff too as it goes on. That's definitely going to be a very enjoyable aspect going forward, and it's going to make the overall experience pretty fun. Anyways, funny side note, they also do have a Deborah statue there, which is pretty cool. He's doing the Mr. Satan pose and everything. Anyways, with the first glance of the third world, we get to see it's pretty run down. First off, the place is filled with gas that makes it really hard to move around and just makes the air very dense. But also the place is filled with bandits, and in terms of that Deborah statue, it seems to be pretty run down too. Clearly this area is very neglected. Again, something I'm sure is going to be explored. And there's another huge lore drop here too, which kind of came out of left field. So for years now, for all the Kais, they've been referred to as core people or Shinjin, as in that's what the fandom called their species. We got this a while back from the Super Exciting Guide, so this wasn't even from the actual series, this was from one of those supplemental guidebooks. But now we have something else. Shin is from a race called the Glinjin, which just literally translates to Glin people, so he's called a Glind. We don't know if this applies to every single Kai yet, but given a good chunk of them look similar, that's probably the case. The Glind are also from the second world, and they're considered upper class compared to the third world. So it seems like now we know the name of Shin's race and presumably a lot of the other Kais. And like I've been saying, obviously we're exploring the Demon Realm a lot, and that does include a lot of the history about the Kais too, so it's going to be interesting to see how much more we learn about the Kais going forward because we're already learning a good amount about them. Like where they originate from, we're learning more about Shin himself and his actual family. And for now, there are 3 people we can say for certain are part of the Glin species. That's Shin, Degasu, and Dr. Arinsu, so just the 3 of them, the siblings. But I'm guessing this applies to a lot of the other Kais as well. And not just that, I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about where they come from too, which is pretty long overdue considering how long Kais have been involved in the story. And not just the Supreme Kai, but like even all the way back to King Kai being the first one introduced. We know some about their hierarchy and how they work, and like what their responsibilities are, but learning more about their history would be pretty cool too, because there's still a lot of mystery surrounding the Kais. Whether that be the Kaio Shin, anyone above, below, in between, whatever. There is a lot that's still unanswered about them, and I'm sure the series is going to answer a lot of that, so that'll be nice to see. And I don't really know where else to talk about this, but there's one theory that my friends and I were talking about earlier today, so I guess I'm just going to platform it here because it sounds kind of cool, and it actually does make a little bit of sense to me that maybe this will be involved somehow. And like, this is completely a long shot. Like, I don't know for sure. This is based off of like almost nothing, but man, this is what I live for. I haven't been able to talk about Dragon Ball theories for so long, so here's my chance to finally do it. So the series is taking some sort of inspiration from GT at least, and there's so many comparisons that can be made to it. And because of that, a lot of people are wondering if maybe Super Saiyan 4 will show up somehow, or like something similar. So let's rewind a bit. Remember in the first episode we were told pointy ears mean you're from the demon realm? Well, everyone jumped to the conclusion that anyone with pointy ears are from the demon realm, and then we learned in episode 2 that it's not everyone, but most people. A lot of people were pointing out the fact that great apes have pointy ears, and we keep getting shown this pointy ear thing. Like, it seems like such a small thing, but in the last 3 episodes, there's always been something about people having pointy ears. Like, this is an important plot point. It seemed like just a one-off thing, but no, we've had to address it in every episode so far, and it was actually important in this episode because Goku almost didn't get into the demon realm because he didn't have pointy ears. Like, it keeps getting brought up, and it's just so weird now. So anyways, back to what I was saying about the great apes. What my friends and I were talking about, and I'm sure we're not the only ones that thought of this, but I'm just going to go off our conversations. So Saiyans do get pointy ears, but only when they're great apes. And you know what's really interesting? We still don't know anything about the evil Saiyans that lived in the past. And I'm not talking about like in Dragon Ball Legends or Dragon Ball Heroes because we heard a little bit about it there. But maybe we actually will hear something about that here. And the reason I'm saying that is because, first of all, evil Saiyans from the demon realm, I mean, kind of just fits. And another really interesting thing that one of my friends pointed out. You know what's really special about Universe 7 Saiyans that Universe 6 Saiyans don't have? They still have their tails. Or at least they did until Frieza killed them all, but they never evolved past having tails, and they can always transform into great apes. At least if they kept those tails. And you know what else is different between Universe 6 and Universe 7? The Saiyans in Universe 6 are all good. The Saiyans in Universe 7, a lot of them were still evil. And like even the best ones, like Bardock for example, they're still genocidal war criminals. Like pretty much all of the Saiyans in Universe 7 were horrible people. So anyways, what we're discussing is the fact that Great Ape might actually be tied to the demon realm somehow, because the whole point of the demon realm, I mean, demon realm, it's full of evil people. And then Universe 7 Saiyans have this form where they have pointy ears, and we keep getting pointy ears addressed. And I'm sounding like an insane conspiracy theorist right now, but this is what I live for. I need to make my crazy Dragon Ball theories. I need to get it out somewhere. But what I think might happen, and I don't know how likely this is, or maybe I just sound completely insane, but we might even learn more about the Saiyans from the series, particularly the evil Saiyans, and maybe the fact that they have ties to the demon realm, and maybe the fact that the Great Ape form has some sort of demonic nature behind it, which might also lead to some sort of new form being revealed, or at the very least, we just get more lore about the Saiyans, and why it is that way. Maybe this is completely unrelated. This is like completely off the mark, and I'm just talking about nothing here. But still, I mean, when I was talking about this with them, I'm like, you know what? That sounds crazy enough to be true and kind of cool as well. And we already know Vegeta is going to be a big part of the series too. Like, obviously, I mean, Vegeta is going to be involved regardless, but he has some sort of major role here. And like, it could be nothing because Vegeta always has a big role. But maybe Goku and Vegeta are going to learn more about themselves as Saiyans, specifically where their powers derive from. More specifically, something tied to the demon realm and evil Saiyans. Anyways, all that aside, I guess that basically covers everything I wanted to talk about with this episode today. We got some interesting lore drops and a lot of theory fuel, which is nice to have. Anyways, let me know what you think about the episode below, and more specifically, what do you think about my crazy theory? I know, it's insane. But hey, I'm not the only one making it, so I guess I don't sound too insane. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.